Hello, everybody. I'm Rikki Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday
Faith
Presents.
on Friday, step into what's possible with Rikki
At Faith
Smith.
on Friday Presents, our goal is to drive motivation by closing the door on the comfort zone, to foster inspiration by showing you what's possible, and to create transformation by challenging those negative and unproductive mindsets. Don't forget, while you're here, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and don't forget, give us a thumbs up and share this with your network. All right, so we've all been there. Mandatory training. I hear the collective groan. Nobody wants to go. The only thing that you can think of is a whole day wasted, the 3,000 unplayed voicemail messages, and not to mention the 27 million text messages and all of the other things that are going to be at your desk waiting the second that you get back. But what if there's a way to make training better, more efficient, more effective for you, your team, and your organization? Today, we're going to talk to somebody who's going to talk to us about training. We're going to talk about AI and who knows what else is going to happen. But first of all, everybody, please say hello to my guest, Mr. Calvin Dantley. Woo, 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 woo. What's going on, Calvin? How are you?
I'm doing good, Ricky. How are you? Thanks for
I'm
having me.
doing great. No, thank you so much for being here because I love this topic and we have so much to talk about. But before we get started, my friend, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're located.
Yeah, I am based out of St. Louis, Missouri, and Master Systems is the name of the business. We are a learning and development vendor, and started this company after 15 years of sales. And I was always the person that got tagged to bring on the new salesperson, help them get onboarded and up to speed. And the running joke was I'd drive around and repeat myself. And I got tired of doing that and decided I really wanted to kind of plant my flag in this learning and development space. And so really found a lane in e-learning, design and development, and then learning management system, really focusing on the delivery side of things as well.
Wow, you pretty much just told us everything that we love and hate about training. So let's see where to begin. It is the repeat yourself. So a lot of us have been there where we've been in corporate and we've been working for a company and they keep bringing people on, as companies do, and they always task somebody to train that new person. Not that they give you extra money, extra time, because they still expect your work to get done, but you now are tasked to train this new person. All right. So you decided, I'm done with that. I'm going to do it on my own. Calvin, what in your mind, what was your last straw when you were done in corporate? I always love that story.
Well, and it wasn't by my own, it wasn't my own choice that this was the last straw. COVID really was a
Yeah.
violent shove into this new space.
Hmm.
Prior to COVID, I was driving around. I had 24 locations that I would visit, and I was doing sales training. I was doing customer service training, and
Oh,
once a quarter, we'd bring everybody in out of the field, and we would do a big group training.
mhm.
When COVID happened, all of that went away. We weren't in the facility training. We weren't bringing people together, and we needed to figure out a better way to do things. And so COVID was kind of like the last straw.
Mhm.
It was where I started messing around with like animated videos as a way to get the information out,
Mhm.
doing voiceover, and just creative ways to still train people, but
Right.
not in person. And that
Mm.
was kind of like the first step into this new space, and I really enjoyed it. We got results. It was
Mhm.
having an impact on the business, and it just kept pulling that thread and going deeper, deeper into
Yeah.
this world.
And then here you are, the world's best trainer on the entire planet. Let me ask you this though, Calvin. So I love when you said, messing around with kind of the animation and stuff like that. I can hear the collective group of people going, animated training. Oh God. We have all been there, sitting
Yeah.
in front of that computer for those, again, mandatory trainings. Okay, Calvin,
Hmm.
what makes your training sitting in front of a screen
Hmm.
better or different than what we've been doing for years?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Ricky. A lot of training is similar. right? The click-through interactions, the videos, as you said, the collective groan as soon as they open up the screen and say,
Right.
click to learn more. What makes ours is different is that we really approach the content from an application standpoint. We're not just giving you information that you need to memorize and then regurgitate.
Mhm.
One of the things that has really gotten popular in this space is micro learning and gamification. And with
Mhm.
those two pieces, you can create a really interactive learning experience with minimal time in front of the screen.
Wow.
And what I mean by that is you may watch a 30-second video, read about 3 to 5 minutes of text, but then the call to action is to go do something. Get up from
Mm.
behind the computer and go talk to a prospect if it's a sales training. Go
Wow.
talk to a coworker about a situation that they just had if it's a customer service training. For
Mhm.
those dreaded compliance trainings, some of those things we have to do, like mandated seat time. But
Yeah.
for things that are really targeted at on-the-job performance, we're
Mhm.
making our learners do more than just click through a training. We're having them get
Yeah.
up and go apply what they've learned in short, bite-sized chunks to the
Mhm.
day-to-day operations, which
Yeah.
makes it a very different experience.
Oh, I bet, because I think you had me and a lot of people at gaming. Because, well, you think about it, elementary schools
Hmm.
have been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And COVID kicked it up a notch, for everybody, because now you got kids sitting in front of a screen for 6 hours,
Yep.
mandatory school, versus playing a game for 6 to 12 hours. But that they found out that the kids were learning better because they were playing and they
Hmm.
were laughing and kind of interacting with other people. So, what kind of research did you do to come up with this idea for adult learning? Because you know how we are. We so grown. We so grown.
Yeah.
We do not want to be sitting out here in front of no screen. Click, click, click. Where'd y'all come up with the idea?
Yeah, it was a combination of things, right? So across the industry, it's known that online learning can cut the time investment of training in half, right? So there's some data out there that says e-learning, online learning is going to be more efficient and more cost effective. So that
Mm-hmm.
was stuff that we already knew. Then we looked at kind of the changing work, changing landscape of who are the employees that are the adults now that we're training.
Yeah,
And for a
right,
lot of those next generation employees, they've grown up in a digital era, right?
yeah.
They've been on social media since they were in middle school or
Mm-hmm.
elementary school. And so now as adults, they're still kind of in that same mentality of like content that I consume needs to be under a minute long. It's got to
Right,
be very engaging. There's got to be almost like the strobe lights and the bells and whistles
right.
to be real for them. And
Yeah.
so we took kind of both of those existing data sets and we put them together and said, how do we make training that checks
Mm-hmm.
all of these boxes?
Wow.
But then the added box that we put in there is how do we measure return on investment
Yeah.
and give our human resource partners the story to tell so that
Mm-hmm.
they can be involved in those strategic conversation at a leadership level.
Yeah, that's so good. It's funny you made me laugh when you're talking about, the kids who have grown up in front of the screens playing
Yeah.
games and it reminded me of, do you remember the old Charlie Brown cartoons that we used to watch, the Charlie Brown Christmas, the Charlie
Yep.
Brown, the
Yep.
Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Well, some people who've never seen them, the kids, they've
Man.
never seen them before. So we bought them because we are those parents. And we're like, you're going to sit down and you're going to check out Charlie Brown. You would have thought that we were dragging them to the guillotine. They're like, this is so boring, this is so lame, where the graphics are just ridiculous. So it's the difference between, the Charlie Brown thing and, I don't know, Star Wars, which is the difference between Star Wars now, then, and Pacific Rim. I mean, just
It's so different.
it is so different. So
Yeah.
now you've got this group of folks, they're in, and I love what you said, the ability to give your HR folks a return on their investment. Talk to us a little bit about kind of that tracking that ROI for that training.
Yeah. So, I mean, and a lot of folks that are in my space kind of follow similar processes in terms of when we get a request for training, we sit down, we analyze the problem, we go through the ADDIE model,
Mm-hmm.
analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at that first step, the analysis, before we even get there, there's, I think, an important thing that we need to add to the process, which is, what's underneath the request? What's
Mm,
the actual business objective? Because managers will come to HR and they'll say, hey, we need a communications training.
right.
Our call times are too long, or whatever the issue is that they're actually trying to address, but
Hmm.
they'll make the request very general,
Hmm.
communications training, customer service training.
Right.
And so, as an instructional designer, what we do to really get underneath the hood on those things is we talk to them about what metrics are they currently looking at to know that that's even a problem.
Wow.
And that's where we get into the conversation around, the call time is too long.
Right.
We're not closing enough sales. We are having trouble making decisions, and so the process ends up bottlenecking at a particular person or
Hmm.
with a particular group. And so once we can get to that conversation and we really start talking to them about the metrics and like where they're feeling the pain specifically,
Hmm.
then we can kind of reverse engineer the training so that it's not as generic. Because if I said I need a communication skills training,
Right.
there's a million topics underneath that umbrella that we
Absolutely.
can focus on. But if we're really focusing and pinpointing, like, hey, we're getting two pieces of information that contradict each other, what do we
Hmm.
do in that specific setting? Well,
Hmm.
now we can design a short 10 to 15-minute learning experience that addresses that specific concern
Right.
and then deploy it in a way that gives people not only the information to address the concern, but like I
Hmm.
said before, that action that they can take that next step.
Right.
And sometimes that may be a job aid that they can download and keep next to their desk.
Mm.
Sometimes it's a list of questions that they have up on their screen while they're on a call.
Right.
But whatever that next step is, we're really
Hmm.
pinpointing the thing that's going to change the metrics that the managers are looking at.
That's so good. So, with that being said, do you create trainings each individual time for each individual client? Because I'm like, that is time consuming.
It depends.
Okay.
So sometimes, a lot of times, yes, we
Hmm.
are creating kind of unique pieces of training that fit
Hmm.
into their existing learning ecosystem.
Hmm.
But if we're talking about a topic that's broad, like sales or
Hmm.
communication skills, we've got a lot of canned content that exists already. And
Right.
what we can do is we can pull a module out of
Hmm.
those existing pieces of training, deploy them for that specific client or company,
Right.
and then whatever we wrap around with, like, the job aids, the
Hmm.
videos, the manager question and response worksheets. Those are the things that really make the learning experience unique for that in that business environment,
Right.
that company.
Yeah. So then that begs this question: who are your clients? Because you said organizations or individuals. Who are you working for, if you will?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So we really got two pools of clients.
Hmm.
One is going to be the organization. A lot of organizations that are, 15 to 50 employees or larger,
Hmm.
are typically supported by a fairly small HR team.
Oh.
And these aren't folks with, learning and development specific skill sets. A lot of
Hmm.
times they're generalists because they're dealing with
Yeah.
onboarding, compliance, and like their responsibilities are so
Hmm.
vast that learning and development is such a small piece of it. So we come
Absolutely.
alongside those departments and we
Hmm.
support them with content creation and learning consultation.
Oh, wow.
On the individual side, for your solo practitioners, your small business owners, a
Hmm.
lot of times we are working directly with the business owner or the president or founder. And in
Hmm.
those cases, there's an absence of training altogether.
Sure.
And so we're starting from scratch and we're
Hmm.
figuring out, what's the most impactful piece of training that we can build to move your
Right.
business forward. And for a
Right.
lot of those companies, it's employee onboarding, making sure that they
Hmm.
know all the policies and procedures that are important to the day-to-day
Yeah.
operations.
Wow, that's so good. It's interesting. Now, in your area, are there other companies that are doing what you are doing right now?
In a way. So a lot of times what companies will have to do is they will hire an instructional designer, they'll
Mm-hmm.
hire somebody to build the training, and then they work with their learning management system provider on, the delivery of the
Mm-hmm.
learning content.
Right.
We do all three of those things.
Nice.
So we are a one-stop shop in that
Okay.
regard.
Mm-hmm.
So in our area, there's a couple of other companies that do that, but
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, it's a small pool of people that are pulling all those skill sets together.
That's pretty neat. So I hear again the collective going, and this is what they're saying, but I don't learn well in front of a screen. We like it in person.
Hmm.
What do you tell those folks?
What do I tell those folks? We usually get into a knockdown, drag out fight about it.
Drag them across the table. It's on and popping, y'all.
No, it's a valid concern, right? People get caught doing, caught up doing the same thing that they've always done and it's working, right?
Yeah.
So the question begs, why change if it's already working? And
Mm-hmm.
I think the reality that we all have to deal with is that our workforce is changing, right?
Yeah.
The same people that you were training 10 or 15 years ago, even 5 years ago,
Yeah.
is vastly different in terms of their attention span, the things that are going to help them translate the content to
Mm-hmm.
actionable results.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep that in mind. Our audience is
Yeah.
changing, and so do we. So what we were doing before may not work for this next generation
That's
of
so true.
employees that you're hiring.
That's so true. You know, you said one of the things that tickles me, but it's so true. Our attention span. It is so incredibly sad.
It is.
Remember books? They were these things, they were
Those
super
things with
cute.
words and
Those things with
pictures.
words and sometimes have pictures that we don't use anymore. And but now scientists have said and seen that our attention span has gone from that collegiate level reading thing that the majority of people and the majority of things that are written now are written for and about a fifth and a half to
Mhm.
sixth grade reading level.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean I could have got out of school in the sixth grade? I'm just asking for a
Man,
friend. So
right?
I know, wasted all that time freaking going to school. But you know, it's so funny because of the advent of things, the internet in and of
Hmm.
itself, you know, on our phones. Because even this particular YouTube channel, our goal, we keep it short on purpose and by design
Yeah,
because of the research that we have done. Let's move forward a little bit. Are you ready, sir? You got
I
your
am.
soapbox ready?
I'm ready.
AI.
Ooh.
Go in. That's on you.
Well, I'm doing a listening tour right now, and the way I'm framing this conversation for a lot of folks is, COVID, and we talked a little bit about COVID already, forced a lot of people to adopt more technology than they ever really saw themselves adopting.
Sure.
And so it pushed a lot of people into that online space.
Mm-hmm.
And now with AI, it's telling those same people who just got here that they've got to go faster.
Yeah.
And so it is creating chaos in the learning and development sphere
Mm-hmm.
because, and this is how I start the conversation is, what were your learning priorities before this AI revolution
Mm-hmm.
and what are they now? And I would say 9 times out of 10, those learning priorities have shifted because now they're trying to keep up with the demands of their employees in terms of can we use AI? How do we use AI safely? How do we
Mm-hmm.
stay compliant and use AI?
Yeah.
And so I think HR teams are kind of in a little bit of a tailspin figuring out, HR or AI policies to support their organizations. And
Mm-hmm.
all of those other training priorities are getting pushed down.
Yeah.
And so I think from a clarity of priorities,
Mm-hmm.
it does make things a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
However, on the flip side of that, when it comes to developing training and delivering training, we've never seen an opportunity for us to develop this volume of content this
Mm-hmm.
quickly and still have it
True.
be compelling, engaging,
Yeah.
and beneficial to the businesses that we serve. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're using AI tools on a daily basis. A lot of the platforms that we use all the time are
Mm-hmm.
integrating AI into them
Yeah.
to make our work faster and more seamless.
Mm-hmm.
But we still need the people part of it. We still need
That
to
part, right?
validate and make sure that the
Yeah.
reasoning is there and that all the dots are connected appropriately because AI can only do so much for us.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to really be intentional about how we connect those pieces together.
Yeah. And I think, do you find that in the folks that you're talking to about training, are folks worried that people are like, oh no, AI is going to make me lose my training job? Because now you can make training content. I can create training content.
Hmm.
You wouldn't want to do it, but I could set it up. You know, do you find that some of your HR folks are concerned about that AI taking our jobs now?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, large learning and development departments have been, completely removed
Mhm.
from organizations because AI can do a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think if the bigger the organization and
Mhm.
how quickly they want to move into this AI space,
Mhm.
if they're willing to, they could, end a lot of jobs and a lot of
Yeah.
careers.
Mhm.
On the flip side of that, though, there is more opportunity for folks that are situated to pick up freelance opportunities
Mhm.
to, start your own business doing this type of work.
Yeah. So true.
So in the corporate space, yeah, there's definitely a fear there because AI replaces a lot of the
Mhm.
typing and the voiceover type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it has created a lot of opportunity for
Yeah.
those learning and development professionals to get
Mhm.
into other areas of the
Yeah,
work
that's so true.
and to
It
do
reminds
work.
me of when, every the electric cars were coming out and people were like, "Oh my gosh, we're all going to die," because nobody's going to have any jobs. And it made me think, if we have something like that coming in like the electric cars, um, we're going to need people to learn how to fix them.
Yes.
We're going to need people to learn how to put those charging stations every 300 yards on the freeway. We're going to need people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
there's a whole nother group of opportunities that open up behind this thing, and 100%, I love that. But
Hmm.
like you said though too, you're gonna have to be a little bit more creative. Don't get stuck in the way it's always been done,
Hmm.
because that has
And
gone out the window.
oh yeah, yeah, to your point about the emerging opportunities that exist,
Mm-hmm.
we're building an internship program now,
Wow.
because in this space, experience pays more than education, and that's just the reality of it. If I've been doing
Yeah.
this for 10, 15 years, and compared to somebody who's just stepping into the field with a college degree,
Mm-hmm.
I've done this so many times, I've gotten the reps in. And
Mm-hmm.
so, one of the things that we're focused on is really preparing this next generation to
Mm-hmm.
step into these roles because their perspective is needed here.
Yeah.
Um, you
So
know,
true.
training is required of every business from your
I
first
know.
employee to the last day that the owner's in.
Yeah. Until they
It's
shut the
necessary.
doors.
Yeah, so we
See,
need to be able to pass the torch to the next
to the
generation.
next generation. But it's so funny. I just keep hearing, because maybe it's in my head because I wasn't a big fan of school. You just told me I could get a got out of school reading at a sixth grade level, and now I can just do an internship. I do not have to go to college. Are you saying that education is dead? What are you saying?
My mom would kill me.
I
No,
know mine too.
no, education is not dead at all. I just think that when it comes to the opportunities to make money and
Mm-hmm.
be in a career that has so much potential,
Yeah.
long-term
Mm-hmm.
potential.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional education has value, but there are so many other pathways. And I don't see it as an
100%.
either or. For a lot of kids, it's an and, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any scholarships, so I'm paying for college out of pocket, but I've got this really awesome freelance gig
Yeah.
that gives me, money to pay for rent and
Mm-hmm.
food and at the beginning of the semester when I gotta buy books, right?
Yeah.
So there's it's an and the and looks different than getting a part-time job working at a
So true.
restaurant or at McDonald's or Burger King.
Right.
Mhm.
Even so, where I live at, we have high schools that are graduating high school seniors with associate's degrees or with certifications in
Mhm.
things like AI. They're getting their Sig Sigmas in high school
Yep.
because, to your point, the experience is becoming more valuable than the actual education per se.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Calvin's mom, we are not down in education, just so you know. Yeah. That is so
Yeah,
cool.
no, it's I think it's a great thing. It's a great
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they only need a computer and an internet connection to
that's
be
right.
able
And
to
work anywhere and
fund the
get it
next
all
time.
done
Hmm.
and have a whole business.
Absolutely.
I it just makes me think of some of the things, the technology has moved so quickly. I
Hmm.
mean, just years ago, or was it yesterday that we were on iPhone 7? I don't know even what number we're on right now. I
I think I
remember,
saw some 15,
is
15 or
it
16,
15?
maybe. I
I
don't know.
don't know. Somebody
Double
throw in the
digits.
chat. What are we on? Yeah, what are we on with our iPhones? But remember when people were working on the Photoshop? Remember that years and years ago? That was revolutionary.
Hmm.
We went from the typewriter to a keyboard. Remember when we went from the desktops to the laptops? Look at where we are right now.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
moving along so fast. And training looks like, do you think training is running behind to catch up, or is training in the race
Mm.
with it?
I think, oh, that's a great question. I think that when it comes to, so we do something, and I don't know if you remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah. So we do choose your own adventure training
Okay,
scenarios. So
nice.
it's a fusion of, things that were old combined with technology that's new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think the more that we do that kind of work when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to technology, applying stuff that was engaging and exciting many moons ago, and just layering technology on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that creates opportunities for training to stay cutting edge
Yeah.
and not fall behind the curve because
Mm-hmm.
everything that was old will become new again. And so I think it's just paying attention to the trends
Mm-hmm.
because even with some of the industry standard tools that we use, there's new ones
Right.
popping up every day. And
Yeah,
then
so true.
so there's no way to keep track of everything that's going on,
No.
but if you're paying attention to the big trends,
Mm-hmm.
layering what you know to be true with some of the
Mm-hmm.
new stuff, I
Yeah.
don't think you can miss.
Yeah. I like what you said. What is old will become new again. And I just went to bell bottoms. You know they're back. Just putting that out there. They're back. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. When you think of some of these things going forward, I mean, Calvin, you and I have talked before, and we
Hmm.
we laugh at each other because we have these various soapboxes under our desk that we pull out in the
Yeah, we do.
event we need to go
Hmm.
there. So, Calvin, I'm gonna give you one opportunity to pull
Okay.
out just one of your soapboxes, real
Okay.
quick. Pull something out. What is one of your soapboxes that you stand on?
Whew. Learning and development, and I mentioned this earlier, and I didn't go into it, but we got to shift away from being order takers. There is a need for us to really use our skill set and asking good questions to
Mm,
really better understand the needs of our clients.
yeah.
And whether you are an entrepreneur and your clients are different businesses, or
Mm-hmm.
you work for an organization and your clients are the departments that you're working to support,
Mm-hmm.
asking those questions, getting underneath the hood, not just making the communications training or the dealing with difficult people training
Yeah.
just because somebody requested it. Find out what the problem is that you're actually
Okay.
trying to solve as specific and acute as possible,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's going to make the training different, more
Yeah.
effective, and really have a measurable impact on the business. That is key to having an effective learning strategy.
Yeah. That is so good. Put your soapbox up, sir, right now. Absolutely. So we talk, both of you and I both are in the same industry. So except for the side that you're on is different because I do the in-person trainings, but I use a lot of the new AI tools. I use something called Mentimeter. People love that stuff. It's so fun because it's so interactive. I like what you said in your soapbox. So I'm going to pull mine out real quick. Hold on. Okay, so here's my soapbox with that. As trainers, HR folks, when you hire any trainer, make sure that part of your package that you get from them is the training report. At the end of the training, you should expect something from those trainers to send you. And it shouldn't be the training was great and everybody had fun. No, you need to make sure that what you asked them for is what they did, and it should be in a report that they can send to you at the end of the training. I'm done here.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, there. We're okay. So
I love that. It's got to be more than those smile sheets, right? It's got to be more
Come
than
on.
that.
I love
Mhm.
that, the small sheets, because and anybody that is a trainer or who have hired trainers, our HR staff, thank you for your service. They're sometimes it's tough because trainers can come in and do the one and done, and then you walk away and you never hear from it, and you hear your people going, "We had so much fun." But that doesn't tell you what you said. What one's under the hood? What was the reason for this real training? What was the
Mhm.
expectation? Was it met? What was your business about this training? So, yeah, look for the report, just
Yeah. Yeah.
FYI. All right. So, now, Calvin, my friend, here we go. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, finish this conversation, or work with you, or find out more about your apprentice program that you guys have started, where's the best place for folks to find you?
Yeah, the best place to reach us is at my website. It's www.mastersystems.us. And on the website, you'll be able to sign up for a learning strategy conversation. where we talk about how do you connect the dots between the training that you want to build today and the other existing pieces of training that you already have, and how do we make them work together. You'll also see our blog, which has some information and content about what instructional design is. And then we've got a few workshops that we do to really help people understand, how they can take their training to the next level or leverage existing training to create stronger employees.
That sounds great. Don't worry, everybody. If you did not get all of that contact information, everything is going to be in the description below. And don't forget, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, give us a thumbs up, and share this with your network. Calvin, my friend, before I let you go, we got to play a game.
All right.
This is my favorite part of the show because I get to know some more about you and then talk bad about you too as well. It's going to be awesome. The game is called This or That. I'm going to give you the choice of a couple of things, and you, my friend, just tell me which one you like the best. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
This or that, this or that. Make your choice, no looking back. This or that.
All right. Grits or oatmeal?
Oh, grits
Whew,
with
I was
scotch
worried.
cheese.
Okay, but now here's the real question because you said grits.
Hmm.
Salt and pepper or sugar?
Oh, salt and pepper for
Whew,
sure.
oh, thank
With
God.
with a little bit of cheese on top.
Okay, because I was gonna call your mom and talk and tell her who raised him. Anyway, now that's good. Okay. Yellow light, slow down or speed up?
Man, speed up. We can make it.
Yeah, in theory. I like that so much. I think most people are right there. Okay. Flight, fight, or freeze?
Oh. Okay. Depends on the situation. I'll be ready to fight sometimes. I'm not gonna.
Oh Lord, you gonna catch these hands. Oh my goodness.
So
Oh,
I've
that is
been
so
working on my
funny.
freeze.
Okay,
Just give
you're
me a
working
little
on it.
second to cool
Okay,
down.
we believe in you. You can do it. Oh my God, that is so funny. Okay, reality TV. Yes, please, or I just can't.
Oh, yes, please. And I'm very picky because I didn't think this was a space I would ever be in. But I will tell you, Married to Medicine has me in a chokehold.
Really?
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
so
seen
good.
it.
It's so
I,
good.
Married to Medicine. Note to self. Okay, got it. All right, the Super Bowl, the game or the commercials?
Ooh, the game, the game.
Okay, who's your team?
I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan through and through. When we're born in Pittsburgh, they wrap us in terrible towels and hand us to
And
them.
hand this to your parents. I understand. I was going to talk bad about you because I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm going to leave you alone because I get that. I do absolutely get that. All right. And finally, my friend, what is the best advice you have ever given?
Hmm, that I've ever given. Oof. You know what? Be yourself because you're the best at it.
Oh, that was well done. That's like one of those namaste moments. That was actually really good.
That's what I say when I can't give any other
Yeah,
advice.
well done, sir. Calvin, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on, Ricky. This has been great.
I appreciate you. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. But don't worry, we'll be back next week with more Faith
Step
on
into
Friday
what's
presents.
possible.